Thank you, Senator Williams. Senator Singh.
Well, how many groups does it take? We've had the energy groups, the business groups, the unions, we've had ACOS, all ask this government to give this Finkel report its full and fair consideration before rushing in and rigging the definition of clean energy. But no, that can't happen within this Turnbull Liberal government because they are so divided when it comes to what clean energy even means. That is why we are still in a situation some 4 years later of policy paralysis on clean energy, on the cost of electricity prices and on a way forward for investment in our country. Well, so many groups have urged you as a government to stop this paralysis and to take some action to resolve this crisis. Now, even for Labor, we have made it very clear that we are open to a clean energy target, and that is a big shift for Labor. And yet, despite all of that goodwill, despite all of the encouragement from all of those groups, including the opposition, this government simply can't get their house in order and simply leave this country in a state of absolute paralysis when it comes to investment. Now, what's the outcome? We've lost thousands of jobs that could have gone into that growth and renewable energy over the last 4 years, and we leave ourselves, after all of this work has been done by the chief scientists, in a situation where we just don't know where this government's going to land. Well, what we do know is that there is a situation of the tail wagging the dog. You have former Prime Minister Tony Abbott out there talking about his dislike for the recommendations in this Finkel review when he had not even read the report. Hadn't even read the report, but already, because of his ideological beliefs against renewable energy, he has already decided, along with his buddies such as George Christensen, to bag it out and to try and lead the coalition into not supporting it. Well, this idea that you can change the definition of something, that you can just decide that clean energy has to include coal is just bizarre. The definition of clean energy to include new coal power and new coal power stations just to placate the Tony Abbotts, the George Christensens, the Barnaby Joyces, it just makes a complete mockery of the seriousness of the work that the chief scientist, Dr. Finkel, has done with his panel for the last number of months. Now, I cannot understand where this government is coming from, but one thing does seem very clear, and that is that we're not going to land in any space or time of certainty soon, because they simply are so divided on where to go forward in relation to climate policy. So much so that I've just learnt today that Lord Howe Island, who had a plan for renewable energy to reduce its reliance, its massive reliance on diesel power generators, provided the Energy Minister with its plan for 2 wind turbines, just two, on Lord Howe Island to reduce its reliance by 70% on diesel power, has been rejected by Minister Frydenberg. Been rejected. And let's look at what Minister Frydenberg has said. It would have clearly unacceptable impacts. Clearly unacceptable impacts is his take on it. That the government considered the proposed wind turbines would create a considerable intrusive visual impact. He is basing the decision, this is the Environment Minister, this is the Energy Minister, basing his decision on the visual impact of 2 wind turbines on Lord Howe Island, when 92% of the locals on Lord Howe Island support this proposal. They don't want to continue to rely on diesel generation. In fact, Chris Murray, who's lived on the island for 58 years, has said so very clearly. And yet all we get from this government is a refusal of the benefits of renewable energy.